Hey everybody, I'm Maureen and welcome back to my channel. So I'm just gonna jump right on in here. I made McCall's 8339 and this is actually a pattern that they released last holiday. And there's some interesting history about this pattern. So when I saw it, I immediately recognized it from a pattern that I made 3 years ago, and that was McCall's 7922, and I believe it's out of print now. But I had to like giggle a little bit because I made 7922 about 3 times in that same year, and I just loved it so much because it had the twist knot, same exact pattern, literally. And so I made 2 versions in a woven, because it was actually designed as a woven pattern or a pattern for wovens. And then I made the 3rd version as a knit on my own. And I do that a lot. Sometimes if I see like a woven pattern that I feel like belongs as a knit, I'll go ahead and make a knit version of it. Like I won't bat an eyelash at all. So when I saw this at Joann's, I was just like, bet, you know? And so I definitely smiled to myself. And yeah, so I picked this up, and then because I told you guys I would tell you more about the sizes and things that I make and whatnot, I did use a size 12, which is like the beginner size or the first size on here, but that's because I like my things a little snug, you know what I'm saying? So I picked size 12, but if this were a woven, I would probably be a size 16. So I went down a couple of sizes. So my rule of thumb, and I talk about this a lot, if it's a knit, I take my measurements and then I subtract 3 inches from my bust line, and I'm like, that's my knit. And so that's what I did here. And then I used a Ponte knit that is from fabric.com, RIP. And I had that in my stash for a long time. So I used the Ponte knit. Now I'm gonna be real with y'all, and I mean, fabric.com isn't around anymore, so I feel like I can say this, but that Ponte knit was horrendous. Was it easy to sew with? Did it crumple in my hands? No, but it just, it didn't feel like a Ponte knit. Like the Ponte knit, how can I say this? You can either have like really good Ponte knit or you can have like really horrible Ponte knit. And I'll put it to you this way. Any Ponte knit that I have bought from Mood Fabrics has been superior. Anywhere else has been like 50-50, like win some, lose some. So if you are interested in making this dress, and if you're going to use a Ponte knit, highly recommend you do not pass go, do not collect $200, and go to mood.com and get you some good Ponte knit, okay? And so the other thing I want to mention is that this pattern does call for, these are their suggested fabrics, 2-way stretch knit, such as jersey, interlock, stretch velvet. I agree with most of these. When I made my version 3 years ago in a jersey in the original pattern, or original version of this, I felt like the jersey I used like heavily weighed everything down. So like the knot and the fabric that was just kind of knotted in that middle area, it just weighed the whole dress down. And I think I still have it in my closet actually, but for that reason, I wouldn't recommend it. I would probably recommend a more stable knit like a Ponte knit. That way it just kind of holds together a little better as well. So I did make some modifications to this. So again, cut out a size 12. Again, I used a Ponte knit, which is not listed, but it's still a knit, let's be honest. And the other thing I did was I actually, and you can look here, like the V-neck is like really high up on this model. I was wearing the dress and I was like picking out the seams with the seam ripper. Totally dangerous. Do not recommend doing that. Don't try that at home. But that was kind of like, I was like, let me just see if I can unpick that a little bit. So I did make mine a little bit lower. The other thing is that this pattern also calls for a facing. And I'm gonna let y'all in on a little secret. I don't always agree with facings for knit patterns. Do I love a facing for a woven pattern? Absolutely, all day long. It makes total sense. But a facing for a knit pattern for me has never been like good for me. It always like spells trouble down the line. And I don't know if maybe I'm not using the right interfacing. There is such thing as stretch interfacing. And I just don't know. It just doesn't work for me. So what I always do is any hem or facing that it calls for, I omit that part. Like I'll still cut it out and I'll kind of like dance with the issue. But then when I get down to it, I'm just like, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to do a basic stitch. And so I end up doing like a double knit or a double line twin needle finish on my neckline here, and then I did twin needle finish on the sleeves, twin needle finish on the hem and the split, and it laid, it worked. I just didn't want to overcomplicate things with the facing, because for me personally that just doesn't work. I'll be very honest. The other great thing about this pattern is that there is a tutorial for this. Mimi G made one. She uses a really beautiful lavender like rib knit. It looks fantastic on her. I really think that this pattern looks fantastic on anyone. And I just think it's just really flattering. Like it really just like pulls everything together really great. Like, I'm gonna be real with y'all, my middle ain't that small. Like it just ain't that small at all. Anyway, so I would rate this pattern a 10 out of 10. And honestly, I feel like also too, like the thing about the pattern is that I really recognize the changes that they made from the original pattern 7922 to this one 8339. Like, one, they got rid of the idea of it being in a woven. Perfect. Two, the other one did have a zipper. It had darts in the back. Just those things that work for woven fabrics. Okay, great. This one, they really just, they did a really great job. Like, so the front piece here is actually just two pieces. It's very long pieces that kind of, you just have to pay attention to where those dots go and everything like that. And then the back is 4 pieces with 2 for the bodice and 2 for the skirt, with an elastic piece in the back to give you like a nice little snap back, so that you're not, your dress isn't just like hanging off your butt or whatever. So I really like the upgrades and the adjustments that they made to make McCall's 8339. And if you need to make something lickety split, let me tell you, I did this dress in like 2 or 3 hours. Like, I mean, cut the pattern, cut the fabric, and sewed it up. And let me tell you, this was originally going to be a red dress, but I actually pre-washed my red fabric and realized there was some like, I don't know, it's just some like mystery stains on this fabric. And I was like, you know what? I ain't fitting to fool with it. So I had that 3 yards of Ponte knit from fabric.com, sewed it up. So I even did a split decision. So let's count this up. I cut the pattern, cut the fabric, changed my mind on the fabric, and cut the white fabric instead, sewed it up, 2 to 3 hours max. Kid you not. So if you're still scrambling for a Valentine's Day idea, this is it. I promise you. All right, you guys. So I know that was quick, but it's about 10 o'clock at night, and I just wanted to get this out to y'all. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I have more videos coming this week, so make sure you come back, hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.